Hello 8th grade algebra students, here are your 3.1 part 1 guided notes. We are working on graphing and writing inequalities today. Make sure you're writing your name at the top of your paper. That way you receive your packet, get your score for your packet. I'm still getting packets without names on them, so please make sure you're doing that right now. So our essential question today is, how can we solve a linear inequality with one variable? Okay. So then we're going to treat these inequalities just like we've been doing with our algebra equations and solving for x. Okay. So we're wanting to find out where x is, if it's greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, or just equal to a certain number or value. So I'm going to start here by rewriting my equation just so I can use it right here. I want to get x all by itself still. Just like in our other problems, I want to isolate x. So I'm at minus 2. If I minus 2 from that side, I need to do it to the other side. Okay. These cancel out. I'm left with x is less than 9 minus 2 is 7. So I can say that x is greater than 7. And this would describe our solution in words. X is greater than 7. Remember that our inequality sign, the way it's facing, is always going towards our larger value. Okay, so we're saying that x is larger than 7. Now let's do this again just for practice. If I have 7 is less than r minus 8, I need to get rid of the negative 8, so r is all by itself, so I'm going to add 8. If I add 8 there, I need to add it to the other side, just like in an algebra equation. 8 and 7 give me 15. 15 is less than r, or we can say this is r is greater than 15. This is going to be like your in your practice problems for today in problems A through D. We go down to our example number 2. We're going to look at graphing our inequalities. I'm going to show you 2 different ways of graphing these inequalities. One which involves this great long number line, the other which is a shortened version which also still works all the same. So if I start off by writing down my number line here, and I am looking for the value of negative 2. So since it's a is less than negative 2, it's an open circle that I'm putting down. A is less than negative 2, I need to show that my a is going less than negative 2. And I know that this might be a little difficult to do on some of these lines, so just make it as best you can. Sometimes going up and down like this will also work to show that it is less than negative 2. The other way that you can do this is you can draw a simple straight line, or as straight as you can be. Put our value that we're looking at, our negative 2, in the middle. Do one that's smaller and one that's larger. Still put our open circle on 2, and then draw it out like this. So this is the way that you can graph it without having to write it out. So some of you, if you don't have your guide notes packet, write it out this way. That way you're not stuck trying to write down all these numbers, and this is the more straightforward method that you can do. Okay. This is also what you can use in your practice too, as well. If we look at our next one, a is greater than 22. If I write out my number line right here, it does look a little smushed, especially when I get into some of these larger double-digit numbers. It looks a little bit larger, okay? I'm showing that a is larger than 22, larger meaning it's going this way. So I'm showing that it's larger. Remember, you can always do the other method too, of putting our value, our 22 in the middle. One number smaller, one number larger. And still showing my open circle, and then where my a is going to be larger than 22. A is greater than 22. This is showing that it's greater than. This is anything greater than 22 is a. If you flip your packet onto the next page, look at graphing a larger inequality, something like this. We're going to follow PEMDAS first. You could distribute, but we're going to do what's inside the parentheses first, as in please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, or parentheses, exponents, addition, or multiplication, division, addition, or subtraction, whichever one comes first. So I'm going to solve what's in here first. 4 minus 6 gives me a value of -2. -3 times -2. I have two negatives multiplied by each other, so they're going to be giving me a positive value. 3 times 2 is 6. So I know that I can write this out on my number line like this. It's an open circle. My A is greater than 6, so all the numbers greater than 6. I can also do it my simplified version, 6 with a number larger and a number smaller as well. My open value still showing that it's larger than 6. Make sure you're putting your arrow at the end too. That's just showing that it continues on. It does not stop. We go down to our example number 3. It wants us to write the inequalities shown by each graph, okay? I can see, I'm just gonna use X in this situation. It's showing me that what I'm showing as X is less than -1. So X is smaller than, so it's smaller than -1. It's showing me everything is smaller than -1. Again, open circle, pointing down, it's showing me that it's less than a certain number. If I go to my second part of example 3, again I have X, I'm wanting to show it for X, it's going up, or it's greater than, X is meaning that it's greater than, and then I find the number it's on, which is 3, X is greater than 3. You can always circle these numbers too, that might be able to help you out too. For your practice problems today, what you are going to need to be completing are problems A through D. You're writing these inequalities in words. You're graphing these ones here. You can always do the shortened method down below if you don't want to try to write it down in this, or you can always just do the value and then a number higher and lower, okay? Then you also have 2 or 4 more practice problems where you need to write the inequalities. This is like that example number 3. I made these pretty obvious and I tried bolding these numbers and the arrows as well. That way it's pretty straightforward for you guys too. Okay, this is gonna be like an example 3. When you're finished with that, make sure it goes back in your red folder so that way we can work on it again on Thursday. Thanks guys.